Okay, going through this experience and knowing that other people around you may not really understand it if they haven't been through it, and then also going through experience with your husband, did this affect any relationships around you, or is there anything to share with others about what might be going on in relationships?
Definitely. I think, well, starting with Pat and I, it it grew us much closer together. I mean, we were close already, but um, it has bonded us in a way that I really can't put into words, to be honest. Nobody knows the situation like Pat and I do. Nobody, like the deepest, darkest moments of this of Iris's life and of her story, like we shared those moments together. And
Mhm.
even individually, there are things like I experience things that Pat will never experience in it, and vice versa. But it definitely bonded us together. And I think for us, it also taught us how to give one another space. People, this was our first time where we really had to grieve anything together.
Mhm.
Um, kind of in, I think we'd been married 6 or 7 years at that point, but we just hadn't had major opportunities for grief or loss. And so it taught us a lot about each other in that aspect. And so I'd say if someone else is in a similar situation, give yourself room to be different. Someone doesn't have to grieve or think the same way about the situation.
Mhm.
Sometimes Pat is someone that doesn't necessarily want to continue to talk about something after the initial conversation, and I am more of a verbal processor and
Mhm.
do want to talk about it. So it was helpful for me to have um, close friends that I could share it with. Um, and it was helpful for Pat to like go and do stuff to clear his head. So be okay with being different in your in how you process things. I think
Mhm.
for like our families, it was interesting because again, you're all grieving and everybody grieves things differently. And I think, I think of like I'll use myself an example. I was going to use my mom, but for myself, I wasn't just grieving it for me, but I was also grieving it for Pat. And I grieved it really hard for Theo. Even now, it like really crushes me
Mhm.
um, because I couldn't protect him from it. Like I could kind of, in some way, feel like I was controlling my own feelings and emotions towards it, but he had to experience loss at such a young age, and I'm thankful for it because it's shaped the way that he views the world and views eternity. um, but it was hard to
Mhm.
walk through that with him. Even now
Mhm.
it's still hard to have those conversations. um, yeah, but just with other people, just recognizing that they're all grieving it and you're also trying to grieve it. And so it's challenging, but we have a very supportive, close family, thankfully. And
Mhm.
um, people, nobody really questioned or challenged the choices we were making either. And I thought that often, like, man, I wonder if anybody's like, why are they going through with this pregnancy? Or, you know, maybe they should do more to for her end of life care. And but nobody, we never felt that kind of pressure from anybody. Everybody was really just with us. And I think that Pat would say the same thing. We just had a ton of support from the people around us. I
Mhm.
will also say that um we chose to be pretty private about it during our pregnancy. We kind of limited the amount of people that we shared with. So people knew we were pregnant, that you can't really keep that a secret. Um, but we didn't really share the diagnosis with many people outside of immediate family, our community group. There was a handful of people at church that we would tell, but um, it was important to me that we didn't let it consume us.
Mhm.
That it was an extreme situation, but we still had to go on living life, and we couldn't like live in the anticipation of what was coming.
Mhm.
We could gather information and be prepared, but we still had to carry on with our daily taking care of Theo, going to work. Like we
Mhm.
still had to do those things. And so we didn't share with a ton of people. And I
Yeah.
it worked well for us to have the support group that we did.
Mhm. That was beautiful.